It started early this morning. The Russian assault on Ukraine began with missile attacks on key targets.
At the time of recording, it's already been over a week since Russian troops moved into eastern Ukraine. We've already seen many posts from normal Russian people saying these are the works of Putin, not of the Russian people.
No to war. Those were the final words of the final broadcast of Russia's TV reign. On Thursday, the news outlet shut down due to the government's attack on free press in the country. Those include the threat of 15 years in jail for telling the truth about Putin's invasion of Ukraine.
In today's video, we're going to cover a quick background into the conflict. Why does Putin want to go into Ukraine? What are the knock-on impacts economically worldwide? And what can we do to minimize the economic fallout from this worldwide and to ourselves? Just as a note, I'm not a journalist, I'm not affiliated to any political party. These are my views and I'm a neutral in a horrible conflict, and I always want all conflict to end. Even if we're not directly impacted militarily, we are all impacted by this conflict. And I'm going to go into that today. A lady who runs a cleaning company that cleans one of our properties, she's Ukrainian. She has a family here that's Ukrainian. She has a husband, child, but she's beside herself with worry because of all the family members back in Ukraine that are in serious danger. Even if we're not directly impacted militarily, there are people around us who are. We have to give them our best wishes, our prayers. It's a difficult time for them. During the Cold War, there were two competing alliances. This is NATO and what was called the Warsaw Pact.
The Warsaw Pact countries, the Eastern Bloc countries, and so the Russians lost their direct access to the Mediterranean, and former Eastern Bloc countries of Poland and Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and former territories. This was part of the USSR, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and now they've changed sides. So this is what it looks like today. This is what it looked like in 1949, and look at the buffer zone that Moscow had from everywhere, and look at where it is today.
So this means that the NATO front lines have now been pushed significantly towards the east, which is something that Putin and Russia aren't very happy about.
I've got a favour to ask you. Smash that like button really hard, and if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button.
Now, something that many people haven't noticed is Germany has changed a decades-long policy of militarily being very defensive and passive. Just hours after the invasion, Germany reversed its policy of never exporting lethal weapons to conflict zones. They are sending weapons to help Ukrainians. And also, they started to spend over $100 billion a year on their armed forces. They've not done this since the end of the Second World War. But what does Ukraine have for Putin? Well, apart from the strategic value of pushing further west and stopping NATO coming in, Ukraine has a lot of natural minerals and produce. Ukraine is actually the fourth largest exporter of barley in the world. Ukraine is also the fourth largest exporter of corn and the eighth largest exporter of wheat in the world. We've already seen huge spikes in grain and agricultural prices as a result. So one of the immediate impacts of this crisis is that food prices are going to be impacted worldwide. As we all know, Russia is a huge exporter of oil and gas to Europe, and crude oil prices are hitting over $100, which is going to make it even more expensive for worldwide economies. So world stock markets have already become very volatile and had huge sell-offs as a result, because people are seeing that there's going to be huge impact worldwide. So with crude oil prices rocketing, gas prices rocketing, we're already seeing the knock-on impact worldwide of this conflict. So even if we're not being hit by bombs and missiles, we're going to be hit by the bombs and missiles economically. So how has the world reacted to this? Well, most of the Western world, or the NATO-centered countries, have all reacted quite quickly. Sanctions are now being imposed on Russia, on people related to Putin. But although it sounds like it's nice to have sanctions against these people, this has a knock-on impact on the world economy. Now, even before the Ukrainian crisis, things were getting a little bit choppy. Food prices going up, energy prices going up. It's almost the perfect financial storm. I've spoken about this before, that inflation is over 5%, and pretty much every single time in the last 70 years when inflation is over 5%, there's a recession. Now things are going to get worse, so it's even more likely that we're going to get a recession. So at times like this, people tend to go towards safe haven investments. So the crypto world, for example, is more speculative. It's still a good investment, but it's highly speculative. So you may have more volatility in the crypto world. People tend to go towards gold. You can invest in precious metals. You can invest in core utility stocks that are always going to be very strong. So personally, again, this is not financial advice, I think Google, Amazon, Tesla, these kind of stocks are very, very strong for the medium and long term. Most importantly, I think you should still be focusing on the areas that are going to be the most shielded from these events, and that is online. So what you should be doing is focusing on how you can earn money online. There's a link in the description as to how you can do this, but I strongly urge you to become a content creator, learn how to earn online. It really isn't that difficult. Now I just want to close by saying my best wishes are with the Ukrainian people and anyone around the world who's in a conflict zone. There's a video below that I strongly suggest you look at. It will help you to progress in your journey. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you soon.